Today we're going to talk about the chant poem, which I feel is a really fun poem to write, especially if you have a good refrain in mind. The chant poem is about as old as poetry itself. In fact, it may be the first form poetry took. Chant poems simply incorporate repetitive lines that form sort of a chant. Each line can repeat, or every other line. It's easy to find many poetic forms that incorporate chanting with the use of a refrain. Chant encourages spontaneity, energy, and big ideas. We want to keep a few things in mind while writing our chant poem. First of all, they tend to be a little bit longer in form. They are free verse, but they do have some rules. And they also build in rhythm throughout the poem. It uses a more formal technique, such as repetition. You must have a repetition in this. And it's also a really good idea to have alliteration so you can build on the rhythm and the sound of the poem. However, repetition alone will get boring, so you need some variety. So don't forget about your other figures of speech. You must have similes and metaphors in this. You really need to give a lot of thought to what you choose to repeat. What is your refrain going to be? It really does matter. Now, as you're going to see in a bit, there are 3 versions to choose from, and they should be 12 lines for version 1, at least. Of course, it can be more. At least 16 lines for version 2, and 8 to 10 lines for version number 3. And you're going to see which version suits your style better. So if we take a look at version 1, this is an excerpt, so a piece of Walt Whitman's famous Leaves of Grass. And here he chooses to begin each line with the word ever. So listen as I read it to you. Ever the hard unsunk ground, ever the eaters and drinkers, ever the upward and downward sun, ever myself and my neighbors, refreshing, wicked, real, ever the old inexplicable query, ever the thorn thumb, that breath of itches and thirst, ever the vexer's hoot, till we find where the sly one hides and bring him forth, ever the sobbing liquid of life, ever the bandage under the skin, ever the trestles of death. Although you might not understand everything about this poem, you can clearly see that by repeating the word ever, it gives it a rhythm, and he really begins to talk about things that are never ending for him. Now, if we move on and talk about chant poem version 2, a poem entitled Raining by Alan Capro, you'll see that every other line is repeated, so this is a little bit different. Black highway painted black, rain washes away. Paper men in bare orchard branches, rain washes away. Sheets of writing spread over a field, rain washes away. Little gray boats painted along a gutter, rain washes away. Naked bodies painted gray, rain washes away. Bare trees painted red, rain washes away. So as you can see, by repeating every other line, it really gives it also a type of rhythm and the idea that the rain is cleansing to all these other images. Now, if we look at version 3, this is one written by our very own Mrs. Stout. Now, this is a little bit different. As I read it, you're going to notice that the last word of the line becomes the first word of the next line. So she entitled this one The Wake. Angels swinging in sheltered sanctums, sanctums with blossoms plucked, plucked with perfection. Perfection's too lofty a sight, sight gushing with gladiolas, gladiolas ghastly white, white the face peering up, upwardly glaring, hoping, hoping for heavenly angels, angels swinging in sheltered sanctums. So if you notice, sanctums is repeated also in the first line and the last line. So well done, Mrs. Stout. I hope you have fun writing this poem. Your first creative decision needs to be which version do you prefer, and then what is important enough to you to want to repeat. So I hope you have fun writing this poem.